Welcome to the channel. My name is Denzel. If you're new here, I'm going to be walking you through some of the tactics that are seemingly obvious that I've used now to actually get myself closer to generating over $100,000 a month in net free cash flow or profit after tax in my recruitment business. And this is what I've been bickering on about on this channel for the past 2 years. So also, if you stick around, I'm going to be showing you some of the bottlenecks or how I'm going around the current bottleneck I'm facing to actually open up what might be the floodgates to more aggressive amounts of cash flow that'll give me leverage to hire, use more tools, and again, once again, just get closer to making over 100K a month. So stick around, let's get into it. Number one, the thing that, so firstly, before I actually get into it, I just want to let you know that some of these things, again, may seem obvious, but the way in which I experienced them was different. Sometimes how things are said or how they sound, like conceptually speaking, practically could be completely different too. So um, you're going to hear the things I'm actually struggling with or have struggled with and what I'm trying to do and doing currently to get around it and the results I'm actually facing. From my previous video, I mentioned to you guys, the inconsistency of behaviors or the volume of behaviors and quality of behaviors, which is usually the two things that actually affect people in terms of getting to their goals, at least for me. Um, and the changes I've actually made over the past 2 to 3 weeks have shown me that this is actually a working strategy and is actually definitely going to get me closer to where I want to get to. So, and it is already. So, the first thing, again, you've probably heard this one, but getting rid of distractions. And it's not going to be probably in the way you've heard, right? I actually didn't understand exactly how distractions would help, or like getting rid of distractions would help you getting to your goals. But what I do now know and how I'm approaching it is I kind of want to clear my conscience. And if you kind of take it a little bit more spiritually, you could say, I don't want to have any karmic debt, right? I don't want to feel or know like I'm indulging in something I shouldn't, and it may be affecting my odds of success or getting what I want to get because I'm not doing exactly what is required. I'm not making the necessary sacrifices, etc., etc., right? So I would look at it, and I do look at it in that fashion, but I do understand and recognize how, maybe an extreme example, if you wanted to do something, if it was required for you to do 100 push-ups to maybe see the results you want to see, a better physique, but then you don't do it completely because something else is in the way, a distraction, then you cannot be surprised if you don't get what you want to get, right? I know it's not the best example, but I get that part of the idea, but to me, that was not enough. So for instance, I got rid of Instagram. I stopped drinking alcohol. It's part of the 75 hard protocol that I have up here. Um, Drink a gallon of water already. That's about 3 liters, I think 3.5 liters. I drink about 3.6 liters a day ish from this thing here. So already I was not going to put in. But anyways, I already understand like there's some things that need to be done. So I got rid of the distractions first to clear my conscience, as I was saying. The only things I was still kind of struggling with was my maybe YouTube, because you always feel like you're learning a lot, and you do sometimes. And sometimes even watching the same content, the productive content, just to remind yourself some things does help. All right. So the emphasis on some of these points sometimes is not emphasized enough. Like volume of your behaviors is super important. And if I had known that a little bit earlier last year and internalized that, and even recognized why I was successful a little bit last year when I made that 16K or got these roles, you'll see like, okay, sometimes the quality is actually less important, the volume is more important. But just to get back to the point, clearing your conscience, getting rid of distractions in order to get into what's going to be the next point, to create the space is very important. It also just has allowed me to know that I'm on track. You feel good about yourself. You're not doing anything that is wrong or bad or off track. And yeah, basically, it's much better. It gives you higher odds of getting to where you want to get to. The second part, which kind of ties into the first, is now creating that space and time to do the only two things that you need to do. Now, once you've gotten rid of distractions, I kind of believe it's not enough. It wasn't really enough for me. But then you need to know what are the two things. And I stole this from Alex Omozi, which is, at least in the context of this business, getting more customers and figuring out a way to make those customers worth more, or even those prospects to have them worth more. This all just increases your odds of making more money. Simple. So getting more customers is a function of advertising. Making them worth more might be offer structuring, pricing, etc. but you need to have the customers in the first place. You need to have that flow. So that just speaks to some of the behaviors you need to do, right? For me, what I've started to do now is just picking up the phone. Although I have partners that I'm working with who I'm doing business development for, and we're actually getting some results, like we might just pick up a 18 to 36K fee if with one of my clients, if obviously we close successful. But the prospect seems very optimistic. We just need to get on that closing call and see what happens. So I'm doing 75 hard if you didn't notice, right? I'm posting shorts. I'm going to be posting every day, and hopefully until I finish the entire challenge. But the protocol does instill, like I was kind of mentioning. Obviously, I do the 2 workouts a day. I think that's good because I'm not necessarily trying to be jacked, but just not be out of shape. And I feel like if actually, if it's true what they say that you can get to a point whereby not doing some of the activities that you get used to doing becomes harder. Let me say that again. So if you can get to a point whereby doing something that is good for you becomes harder to not do than do it, then that's a good problem to have. And so that's what I'm trying to do with this 75 hard. And the protocol is, yes, to kind of get me in shape and get jacked. But mainly, at least for now, I want to really habitualize these habits that I need in order to give my business the flow it needs so that we make the money we need. So 150 reach outs a day, ideally cold calling, is something I definitely want to do on a daily basis. Ideally 300, actually, that's where I want to get to. Obviously, that's not that sustainable, but I do want to get to a point where if I can subject myself to a 30-day period of doing that, I can. Just to make sure I create the flow this year. I need to do about 30,000 cold calls this year and work those leads like as best as I can, which is one of the things I'm struggling with right now, so that I have the highest odds of converting as many of those businesses and hitting the numbers I want to hit. I think if I can get a company that gives me enough business to make anywhere from 15 to 25, 30,000, then I would need like 40 to 50 companies, or the companies to just have very high value roles so that I can make over 1 million a year, ideally 1.2 million to hit 100K a month, right? So that's that. Um, Obviously for my lead generation partners, we're also doing campaigns on a daily basis, but this is only just to make sure I have good focus and time and energy management, right? Time and energy management, very important. And this is one of the things I'm trying to get right in terms of my behaviors. So yeah, once you've removed the distractions and you've created that space and time now to do the activities that need to be done on a daily basis, and you can stick to it, you're actually going to start seeing flow. And this is where I'm going to get into the third point, where I'm going to reveal something that's kind of going on right now and how I'm planning to get around it, how I'm already getting around it, and also working. But before I get there, if you've watched this far, please, just to help out, make sure you subscribe, like, if you find that this video deserves it. Obviously, share with some people who you think might find this valuable. I want to make sure that this channel becomes a place where we do epic stuff and share it, and yeah, we go that way. So if you can do that, that'll be much appreciated. Thank you very much. So the third point is thinking about the bottleneck theory. And the concept or the idea of like moving the buck along the way is something that was not very clear to me. Again, it's something I may have heard before, but I just did not internalize it um, enough, or see that, oh, it's really important to do. So I've been generating all these opportunities in Florida, right? Like probably over 20 at this point. Some people who've clearly said they want to work with me. And then I just do not have like a good system to now convert leads or interested prospects into paying clients. So this is where I'm at, and this is why I say figuring this out is going to open the floodgates to, at least relative to what I'm making right now, is going to open the gates to a lot more money. And I'm very excited to fix this problem right here. So sometimes I get these people who are interested, and I've actually had calls with some of them, and then they're like, they want more information. Send this to me on email. Yes, we want someone in North Miami, Dade, whatever. And yes, we want, oh, I'm working in Florida, in Sacramento. So in Florida, I've done like Tampa. Well, I'm now doing Tampa, but I've done Miami, I've done Orlando, now doing Tampa, also Sacramento. But this is just nursing homes, and I'm going to try different facilities, mainly on healthcare at the moment. So at least the plan that I'm going to be following now is to send more proposals to have a template working so that anytime I get an interested lead, I send them an email quickly, speed to lead, give them a proposal, templatized, kind of customized to their needs, and then start the follow-up process there. Like, you don't follow up 1, 2, or 3 times and say, oh, they're not interested. Like in sales, I kind of have to treat it differently. If you look at some of people's appointment setters, they're doing like 400, 500 follow-ups, and they're hitting a prospect like 19 times, and then you think 3 times is enough. So definitely, I need to break that belief, and yeah, do proposals, try convert people on sales calls if it's easier sometimes, send NPC candidates, and maybe like some redacted resumes through those NPCs. So this is at least where I'm at, getting rid of those distractions, right? um, Getting on 75 hard once you've created that space and time, and follow a strict protocol, because I think I've been a little too soft and easy on myself, and now I need to try and at least generate or cultivate a capacity to do lots of hard stuff, or the right things too. It's not just hard stuff for no reason, but this stuff is hard because it's sometimes just boring, it's mundane, it's difficult. You get kicked in the face a lot of times. It's a lot of rejection. I don't necessarily feel bad about getting rejected on the phone. I think it's how you kind of speak. But yeah, if anything, it's just annoying. It takes time, but it's only because I'm probably not doing enough anyways. So this is what I've been trying to solve. This is how I believe I'm going to be continuing to get closer to 100K a month, and hopefully in the next few videos I'm doing on this channel, I'm going to be telling you guys how maybe we're starting to see real results coming in more predictably. But at least from an inputs and feedback perspective, I'm seeing that on a weekly basis, I can definitely generate leads. And now I want to be seeing if I can get at least all the way along to a point where I figured out the process of generating the leads. If it's now a proposal, if it's an NPC candidate, to a sales call, to whatever intake call, and follow-up calls when you're doing submissions, interview stage, and finally raising your invoice, getting payment, and repeating that whole thing. I think this is normal. If you have something that is expensive, makes you a lot of money, there's so many more steps in between, and the higher the ticket price of that thing or that project or whatever it is you're doing, the longer that sales cycle. If you're selling something pretty less complex, with less steps, less information, obviously the transaction cycle is a lot quicker. So yeah, this is it for today's video. Hopefully you found that valuable. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a message in the comment, or a note in the comment. I'll read it and respond, obviously. And then yeah, again, see you guys later. Like and subscribe. Cheers.